I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
We are the future, Charles, not them.
I'm kidding.
We're the X-Men, dated metaphor for racism in the 60s.
What's a Magneto? A very powerful mutant.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Enter the X-Verse. This week we're looking at the 2013 James Mangold film, The Wolverine. I'm Nathan, I'm one of your hosts on this show, and I'm joined by the amazing, the talented, the wonderful...
Well, you always hype me up so much. I really appreciate it. I'm Kyle. You're very good too. You're good at the hosting, you're good at the talking. You're good
at the pulling my elastic cord of a vocal cord really far back and then pinging and letting it shoot off.
Nathan, no one is complaining about your voice in this podcast, okay?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. You know what? It's damning with faint praise.
Yes, if I remember correctly, you're a bit of a Mangold fan, right?
I am quite a fan of James Mangold. He's a good guy. He's the only director on this franchise that we can talk about.
We could talk about last week's director.
Yeah, we can. Not
Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn. Twisted Mind.
Yeah, it's the Twisted Mind of Matthew, who went on to do Kingsman and Kick-Ass. I think probably actually before X-Men. This is all
right about the same time.
This is all his wheelhouse. But this is James Mangold's film. Yes. Fan of James Mangold. Good guy. He would return to do Logan, the sequel to this movie, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Kyle, what do we think about Wolverine 2013? Is this your first time seeing this? How did you come to it?
This is my first time seeing this. I'm going to be honest, I think for a long time, I didn't realise this was a separate movie from X-Men Origins Wolverine. I thought they were just two different names for the same movie.
Oh, like X2 and X2 United, X-Men United?
Yeah. I don't think it clicked until a while. I mean, I have known for a while now, but there was definitely a time when I didn't realise this was a different movie.
So, when we last spoke about the Rise of the Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four, right? I had said that was the first of these movies I'd seen in the cinema.
Yep.
And that remains true, but this movie was the first X-Men movie I ever saw in the cinema.
Okay.
So this was, I remember going to see it, and I actually don't think I'd seen X-Men First Class when I saw this in 2013.
Well, this movie has nothing to do with X-Men First Class.
Yes, absolutely, but I'd seen everything up to that point with the exclusion of First Class, and thankfully it didn't make a difference. But I think the other X-Men movies of the original trilogy and X-Men Origins prior to this, because I saw them as a kid, you kind of feel like all these movies could have come out 50 years ago, like I'm watching a complete story.
Yeah.
And then it's when you sit down to watch this, you're like, oh my god, these old characters from my childhood 5 years ago, they're contemporary.
Listen, years are longer when you're a kid, okay?
Yeah, I know. I've watched all the videos about the perception of time changing as you get older, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
I guess I didn't see. I think this movie's quite good.
I think this I think it starts really strong, and I think it ends really strong, and I think that you can go to bed in the middle.
See, Nathan, where we change here is I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'm watching all the love story stuff like, oh, hell yeah. This is the core of the movie.
I like a wee love story too, Kyle. I'm not opposed to a rom-com of the sorts,
Mm-hmm.
I love Mamma Mia, Kyle.
I know. We all love Mamma Mia.
We all love Mamma Mia, right? I love Deadpool 1, a love story.
Uh-huh.
But it's crazy that someone as charismatic and as sexy and as talented as Hugh Jackman always gets paired up with someone he has no chemistry with.
I think if we're looking at like the 3 girlfriends we've had so far in these Wolverine movies, this is the best one. Like, this is the one that I at least sort of feel.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel nothing with Jean Grey, and that's somehow still a part of this movie.
It's such a big part of this. Well, not such a big part of this movie, but it's like it's weaved throughout it.
Yeah, he has fake fiancé, not fake fiancé in X-Men Origins, and that's just whatever. At least with this one, I kind of feel something, okay?
Yeah. So this is us... I tell you what, I'm actually kind of forgiving of the Jean Grey romance in this film. Only in this film.
Why is that?
Right, because Now, you would need to sort of put out of your head how those previous movies went about depicting their relationship.
You're right, this movie works better if you just assume they were actually in a relationship in the previous movies.
Yeah, but I do buy, even based on the other movies, even if they depict Logan as just being a sleazeball, I can buy that Logan genuinely loved Jean for why, I don't know, right? But he did. And, you know, when he kills Jean in X-Men The Last Stand, it's definitely emotional, you know? They're very sad. It's a good moment, even though they haven't earned it. It's still a good moment. And I can buy from the immediate moment where he murders Jean Grey in X-Men Last Stand, feeding through into this movie. I can see it. You just got to ignore everything else in X2 and everything else in X1. You know?
Yeah, no, the release of this movie is weird, because we were talking about last week how First Class feels like a soft reboot, and then with this movie they're just like, nah, never mind, we're doing a direct sequel to The Last Stand.
Yeah. Yeah, right, we're doing a direct sequel to The Last Stand just for Wolverine, though.
Yeah.
And it feels like they want to juggle 2 X-Men franchises at once.
Yes, well, I guess they must have had plans for Days of Future Past when making this, right?
I assume they must have as well. I think that maybe everyone kind of knew that The Last Stand wasn't a good final outing for that team. I don't even necessarily believe when they made X-Men The Last Stand they thought it would be the last one, though. It doesn't feel like a finale. I don't know. Just...
I mean, Charles is dead. Xavier doesn't... Or Charles is dead. Eric doesn't have his powers anymore, except that he
moves
does...
the chess piece at the end.
He moves the chess piece, yeah. I
And
think there is
really
an element of finality to it.
It's
called The Last Stand.
Yeah, no, I can maybe get that that's the effort they're going for, but I don't really feel like the movie's a big goodbye. It's like Star Trek Nemesis isn't really the last TNG outing, you know? Even though for a long
just
time
when they ran out of money.
Yeah, even though for a long time it just de facto was. So you could argue that they knew they wanted to make more with this, the original trilogy cast, as they were making First Class and as they were making the Wolverine. It's just Hugh Jackman's just such a money train.
Yeah.
I think this movie gets looked over in the pantheon of X-Men movies.
Oh, it definitely does, because it's a real middle chapter of a movie.
Yeah, of a character's story, hero's journey.
Yeah. It's not his origins, and that movie has the aspect of being famously bad.
Yep.
Whereas this movie, it's it's a decent movie, but it's not Logan, and it's not X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's just kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I read something in your notes, you kind of compared it to like Jason Bourne.
Yes, there is sort of a Jason Bourne quality to a lot of the action in this movie.
Yeah, I think it's not as, I don't know, brain wacky as, because Jason Bourne's hard action cuts is just like, you really notice it watching it. I don't think the action in this movie was particularly jarring. I quite like the action in this movie. But it does feel like a more kind of grounded movie. Even though there are mutants in it, there's no discussion about, mutants in our society and, I'm putting together a team of mutants.
There's not like the metaphor in this movie, really. It's just a more traditional action movie.
Absolutely, yeah, Because, I mean, you wouldn't say, there wasn't really a metaphor in X-Men Origins either, but they leaned into a comic book direction. It was like, we're assembling a team of mutants to work for the government, you know?
I would say they're still part of that because, Stryker is experimenting on mutants and all that. They're still kind of shown as being an oppressed group, right?
Yeah, so that's, absolutely fair. That's fair enough. This movie does feel like a more kind of, grounded sort of film. But this is the one where Logan goes to meet the samurais and the ninjas.
Yes.
Great setting, in my opinion, for this film.
I agree. I think Japan is cool. Hot take.
Japan is really cool. I would love to go.
I would love to go too. We should go together someday, Nathan.
We should go together. We can meet in Kyoto.
Absolutely.
Let's do that.
That'll cost the next 6 years of my salary that I don't have.
Yeah. But I think probably cheaper for you, arguably.
Yeah, I guess it depends which way you fly, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't really want to. I don't really know the connecting flights to get to Japan from where I am.
No, I just know that it's very far away. But yes, it's a cool setting because there's a bit of a culture clash going on there.
Absolutely. But we start in the 1940s, don't we?
Yes. Well, this is where we immediately start contradicting X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah. In my notes, I don't notice the contradiction until like 2/3 of the way through the movie.
I mean, there's a couple, right? There's one is the fact that I didn't pick up on, which is that he shouldn't remember any of this because he got shot in the head
He
that one
shouldn't
time.
remember any of this, yeah.
But you know what, Nathan? It's been a few years. Maybe that some of that memory started to come back to him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the other one is, where the hell is Sabretooth? Because we see that montage in X-Men Origins, and they're basically together the entire time.
They're together at every major point in human combat military history.
It just seems like if you're going to catch one of them, you would catch both of them, you know?
Well, I wonder if... Now, they had their big fallout at Vietnam, so that was after this.
Yes.
But did maybe Sabretooth say, I'm going to stay and kill some Nazis? And he's like, right, well, I'm going to go fight the good fight in the Pacific. So they kind of went their separate ways for 6 months, and then that's where you get captured.
Sure, okay, I'll buy it.
It's just, whatever. They come back together again, you know?
I'm okay with it because it's a cool opening scene.
It's a really attention-grabbing opening scene when you realise where they are in history and what's happening.
Yeah, you see the planes coming over, everyone's running away, and Logan's just like, there's no point in running.
Yeah, just you're safer down here in this big carved-out well they've put me in as a prison.
Yeah.
And the officers...
listen, the Japanese were not famously very kind to prisoners of war during World War II.
True, very true. And the officers, when they know they've failed and everyone's running, decide to commit Sudoku.
The seppuku.
I know. I thought there was monetization reasons for saying seppuku.
I don't know. Is YouTube that sensitive?
I thought it was.
Does YouTube know the Japanese words?
I assumed that it was.
Nathan, we're not monetized anyway. Who cares?
Not yet, baby.
I will say, this is just a personal thing. Seppuku as a practice kind of creeps me out. I know it's a cultural thing, but it's ritual suicide, and I find that very strange.
Well, I find a lot of Japanese imperial culture to be quite disturbing, like kamikazing and etc.
Yeah, it's a very different philosophy on death than we have.
Yeah, absolutely. We're like death is dead. We're like death ain't
bad.
great. Yeah,
yeah.
They're like they're like it is the honourable thing to do.
Yeah,
I would frankly jump in the well. Though thank God they had
I would jump in the well.
Thank God they had that sheet of metal.
Yeah,
where
it did burn his face quite bad.
Only through the little gap.
I think it's like a chunk of the lead that fell down on them, isn't it?
Oh, did it? I must have looked away to take a note at that point.
Well, yeah, that's why the explosion starts coming down. It's because the top of the thing has been blown off.
Right, okay. So I recently, I think I may have spoke about this. Maybe I didn't speak about this last week, but I spoke to you about it. I finally got my 4K limited edition steelbook of Oppenheimer.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hunting for it for a while, and I finally got it. And I watched it a few days ago. Just because I haven't seen it since it was in the cinema, and I watched it quite a few times when it was in the cinema. Amazing movie, great film. But obviously you never see the bomb drop. So the next movie, of course, I go on to watch happens to be this movie that opens with the bomb drop. So I feel like I'm on some sort of single journey right now, you know? All about the question of nuclear and radiation, which is a theme throughout these X-Men movies, Kyle.
Yep, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
No, it's a solid scene, and it's a very interesting setup for who turns out to be the villain of the movie.
This movie has so many twists and turns.
Oh, it's a very twisty-turny movie, that's for sure.
I struggled to pay attention. I've seen the movie before, so it's all like baked in. Like I know who is the guy at the end of the film. But my God, I think watching this in the cinema at the time when I was 14 or something. God.
I think part of it too is that it's a lot of Japanese names, which are hard for us English speaking people to keep with.
Track of. That's possible. Well,
but I do commend the movie for that. The movie is like, this is Japan, people are going to speak Japanese, it's just going to be a thing.
It wants to break that Japanese market and get all its ticket sales.
Is Wolverine big in Japan? Probably.
I can't imagine anywhere Wolverine isn't big. But yeah, so we fast forward all the way through to present day, post The Last Stand. Logan's staying in Tony Stark's town from Iron Man 3 in the woods.
It's not Tony Stark's town, it's that little boy's town.
It's that little boy's town, yeah, but Tony Stark crashes his suit in the snow or something. I can't remember how he ends up in that town. He's a panic attack and flies away.
Yeah, something like that. It's been a while since I watched Iron Man 3.
Yeah. But just to me, it looks like the exact same town. They just one for one.
Logan is living as a hermit in the woods for some reason.
Yeah, like, I understand the themes if he's an animal and he's, he sees a grizzly bear who's going to be his friend, and he's all dishevelled and he's like Mountain Man Logan. I thematically understand that, and he's promised Jean apparently he won't hurt anyone anymore for some reason.
Why doesn't he just go back to his fancy log cabin in the Rockies?
Kyle, this is an audio podcast and even I can see your fingertips. But yeah, right? Apparently he's got his memories back, so why not?
Yeah.
But no,
he must have the deed around here somewhere, right?
Yeah. He's just decided, I'm not doing that. I'm going to live in a little town. In the forest of the little town.
The thing is, he's still going into town to buy supplies, so he still has some amount of money.
Yeah, but it's like the X-Men fund sending him money every month.
Storm is like, if I keep paying for him to stay alive, he'll come back eventually.
Yeah, it's like some sort of veterans bill for the X-Men.
That would be more than the Avengers give you.
That would be more than the Avengers give you. So, we're fighting with people that live in the town because they're hunting with illegal poison
They're poachers,
arrows.
Nathan.
Well,
bears are an endangered species. You're not supposed to hunt bears.
The film doesn't really ever discuss the Endangered Species Act. The issue Logan has is if you're going to shoot an animal, track it properly and kill it properly. Don't leave it to bleed out in horrible pain and have it go wild and come back and kill you later because he finds the right campsite. So I actually wasn't aware of the habitable status of bears. I didn't know they were endangered. And this film certainly doesn't care to tell me they're endangered either. Just that
bears are definitely one of the animals that you're not supposed to hunt. I know that for sure.
I know bears are very dangerous. I don't even if they weren't endangered, hunting them would seem like a pretty stupid thing to do, because if you mess that hunt up, you're dead. Bears hunt you. But hunting a predator, why would you do that?
Yeah, but he goes into this bar. It's the same bar from Deadpool and Wolverine, I assume.
I saw Victor McDade behind the bar.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but Logan, he spends a lot of time in bars.
He does. And anyway, so he's fighting people, and he's up to no good. And then we're introduced to our best character in the film, in my opinion. Well, second best
hot take.
Second best character in the film behind Hugh Jackman.
I probably agree. She's not in it as much as she should be.
Oh, absolutely, she's not. As I mentioned in my note. Yeah, Yukio. Now, as I mentioned in my notes, the film is good when Yukio is in the movie, and then it is boring when she is not in the movie.
Yeah, I do wish this had been more of a partner buddy comedy thing they had going on.
Absolutely. Now,
because they're a dynamic pair.
I have a confession.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realise that this is supposed to be the same character from the Deadpool movies, Yukio.
So, is it supposed to be the same character?
The Deadpool movies are not set in the same cinematic universe as these movies.
Yeah, so it's a variant of this character.
Yeah, the TV would show up, and exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Yukio in Deadpool is more of a sort of teenage character. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Gen Zer. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Uh-huh. But I like Yukio in that movie, but because Deadpool always says her name a lot, it hammers in that's Yukio. And you don't associate this character as being Yukio, because the power sets are quite different as well. Yeah,
she has some sort of precognition about people's death power.
Very something I've seen in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I was thinking the exact same thing!
Yeah.
It's a plot point for half of a full season that, someone's going to die in this particular way.
Right, So, but this is her powers, and she's also a very skilled martial artist.
Yeah, she has ninja training.
Yeah, she got ninja training because of the people she was brought up by. And she's like, hello, I need you to come to Japan. My adopted granddad's dying. He wants to come say goodbye. You met him at the bombing of Nagasaki. He was that fella. I wonder if they've ever met up again. Wolverine and...
It doesn't seem like they have. I mean, no. it would be quite difficult to arrange that, I imagine.
No, actually, over the years, hello, I am the rich Japanese tech industry mogul. you'll see me on the TV sometimes, Wolverine.
I mean, I guess there was a few years there where he wouldn't remember that, right? Unless we're retconning that.
This film very much seems like it's retconning the shot in the head.
Can you read this movie that Logan doesn't remember this guy and those events? And he's just kind of going along with it like, sure, I saved you, probably.
But then he rediscovers the well that he was held in at Nagasaki later in the movie, and he knows it.
That's true. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, because when he goes and discovers that well that he was held in, that's when I write, hold on, wasn't he shot in the head? That's when it clicks for me that he shouldn't remember any of this. But he has an offer for him. Hello, Logan, son. Do you want to give me your mutant powers? Because apparently we can transfer mutant powers. I am the Silver Surfer. Just
okay, keep going.
You can live old and age and die, and I will become Mega Man. I will become the Wolverine, at least in regenerative properties only, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
And Wolverine, who wants to die, doesn't seem like he wants to go along with this. I don't really know why he doesn't want to go along with it, though.
I mean, it's one thing to feel like you want to die, and then it's another thing to actually go through with it. You know, it kind of. It puts it into perspective. Possibly,
yeah. The offer is, though, you get to live out the next 60 years of your life, you know? Live and be happy, and... I know we know that the reality is it'd be quite a grim process that would probably kill him.
Uh-huh. I think... Okay, my reading on that would be Logan, he's still kind of... They already explored this a little bit. He's still subconsciously a superhero, right? He still inherently wants to help people.
Yeah, he can't
He's just
help
a bit
himself.
depressed.
Yeah, because when he goes to kill that... poacher man, he apologises to Jean like out loud, even though she's not. Yeah, right. So there is like an element of always being the superhero. Him and Yukio kind of talk about that a bit. You know, you're a soldier, is what Yukio says to him. You know.
Yeah. So I think in the back of his head, he's like, actually, this is probably not a good idea. I should still be helping people.
That's just fair. That's a fair point. But we have a funny scene, Kyle, because they're like, you're not going to see our granddad man, whose name I forget, looking like old man in the mountain, hillbilly, bear Logan. We're going to give you to some old Japanese matrons. Are you going to give you an aggressive rub down?
Yeah, with brooms. Yeah, Japanese cultures. Yeah, we're ignorant and foreign. I'm sorry.
It's just funny though.
It is funny. Yeah,
it is funny. Which is this is quite a serious, dark, stormy night tone. So to break that, and it kind of throws you a little bit. And then when Yukio's like, "You clean up good," he's like, "I feel violated."
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to this sort of thing when the movie came out. I don't know how people reacted to this sort of, we're doing a movie in Japan, but the hero is a white guy sort of thing. But I think the movie handles it perfectly fine. I don't think it verges into any sort of white savior problems or anything. It's just he happens to be in this other country.
Yeah, I think the movie handles it well. I think because also the movie pays a lot of respect to Japanese culture, at least from my outward perspective looking in. And, you know, they have you've hired authentic Japanese actors, they're speaking Japanese a lot in the movie. The set design, the costumes. Like, this movie isn't half-assing its Japanese, you know?
No. You can tell the actual Japanese people worked on the movie.
Exactly, right. Really, I love the sets. I like being in... Again, I want to go. I love it. I think it's great. But he's like, I'm going to go back to the room that you're offering me. Thank you. Bye. And then the old man dies overnight, and Dave gets woken up by a dream of Jean, and then getting
Dream
kissed by
Grey, as I call her in my notes.
Yeah, you do call her Dream Grey.
I'm quite proud of that one.
I'm proud of you too, Kel. Well done. I was laughing. I was chuckling at your notes reading them before we recorded today. But yeah, so he's awoken by old man's blonde American doctor lady in bed with him, who he thinks is Jean in the dream, kissing him.
Yeah, this is a little bit confusing because does Snake Lady know that he's seeing Jean Grey?
I don't think so. I think she's just snuck in whilst he's coincidentally dreaming. And he has manifested the dream that he's having as being Jean when it's Viper's actually violating him.
Right.
But he sees her and then freaks out, and she runs away, and then by the time he gets up to his feet, he becomes distracted, and we become distracted by the hustle and bustle of the old man apparently having died.
Mm-hmm.
But when he sort of has come to terms with that, surely he would go, yeah, but wait, who was the blonde chick in my room?
I would have thought that too,
right?
Because he's at he goes to the funeral the next day,
yeah,
or
and
I assume it's the next day, and sees her and he's like, "Oh, I don't trust you, snake lady."
Yeah, he looks at her like, "Oh, was that you that broke into my room?" Like, no, you would investigate that a little bit more, I assume.
Logan is not one for tact. He would march right up to her and accuse her of doing something.
Absolutely, he would. Like, he breaks out ranks in the middle of the funeral past the racists and says,
"Yeah, well, this is also when he meets Mariko, the old man's granddaughter.
Yeah,
and he's immediately strucken, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yes, he's smitten.
He's smitten. Yes,
she's a very pretty lady.
She is a very pretty lady. She almost throws herself off a cliff in that one scene.
Almost commits seppuku, yeah.
Almost commits Sudoku, yes.
Yeah. Absolutely, right? But Logan's just like, oh, careful, slip her outside. You know what you're going to do, Not maybe thinking it was going to be a deliberate attempt at suicide.
I mean, I think he knew what was going on. I don't think he's that stupid.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope he isn't. But not one for pulling his punches, because, like we say, he disrupts the funeral to go, Marako, I think things are about to hit the fan here. I think the Yakuza that have apparently been hunting you are at this funeral. I can see these authentic Japanese Buddhist monks.
This is part of the whole, twist-turn conspiracies all going on thing.
So many characters in the Japanese side of this movie, like in the domestic side.
Yeah, there's a couple redundant ones. I would say Mariko's crappy fiancé is a totally pointless character. Yeah.
Minister of Justice that hired the Yakuza in the name of her grandfather? Or to expose her grandfather?
I think he's working with her father?
Yeah, who has daddy issues?
Yeah, so...
A lot of daddy issues in this movie.
Yeah, so old man, he was going to leave the entire company to his granddaughter and just skip his dad.
Yeah.
Or his son, because his son is evil.
His son's a mutant racist.
Yeah, but Grandpappy is also evil, so it seems like they would be more on the same page.
How evil was Grandpappy?
Well, later they say, or Viper is saying to Mariko that he only left the company to you because you're weak, or something like that, right?
I think that's just trying to get into our head, though, because I think everyone understands that Viper was not nice, because we have a Japanese Hawkeye who also knows that Viper's bad, but is very loyal to the granddad.
Yeah, because his clan of ninjas have always been loyal to this family or something.
Or something, yeah.
But then he betrays them when Mariko stabs him in the knee.
Taking any projectile to the knee, Kyle, will make you change your allegiances.
Right, okay, yeah. I mean, okay, well, he also used to be dating Mariko, though. This is another thing that comes up.
Were archery and sword fighting champions or something, and were going to be married, but they weren't 15 yet, and Grandpappy wouldn't allow it.
Yeah. And also, he wanted her to be married for political reasons.
Yes, Logan keeps calling her princess.
Yes.
The Yakuza mess up the funeral, Kyle, and Logan gets shot by a shotgun in the chest at point blank range.
He does.
And he doesn't regenerate.
Dun dun dun.
Big whoopsie there, right? But he's taking it like a champ. He can lock in a fight.
It's interesting, because I guess, the idea is, okay, he can't heal, but his skeleton is still made of adamantium, so he's still pretty hardy. He's
still well protected, but his outer flesh layer is just getting pulverized.
Yeah, and you know what, too? I appreciate that in that fight, as soon as he realizes that he's not healing, he starts fighting a lot, more defensively.
Yeah, he becomes... he starts, just barreling at people, using people's human shields and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, whereas before, he just doesn't do that because he's invincible. I appreciate that this movie does that because it gives the fight scenes a little bit more tension, because that's always kind of the issue with Wolverine, is you're never super worried unless he's fighting Magneto that he's gonna lose.
Yeah, be stopped. I think that this movie gets around its age rating quite well of being a PG-13.
It's so jarring coming out of Deadpool and Wolverine to come to a PG-13 Wolverine movie again.
Kyle, me and Kyle, at the time of recording this, have both now seen Deadpool and Wolverine, but we're not going to be talking about it in detail for quite some time.
But yeah, that movie is R-rated and this one isn't. So in that movie, there's lots of blood, and in this movie, there's not any blood when Wolverine attacks people.
Well, there isn't, you're correct, but he is dressed in all black at this funeral, including his shirt. So when he
it's
gets
a good look, isn't it?
It's a great look. But when he gets shot, because he's wearing black, you can't see the colour of red on his shirt. They just need to put some wet, kind of sludgy squibs on his shirt and rip the shirt a little bit. So it looks like he's been shot and he's got blood on over him. But you can't see the colour of the blood. This is like why the Klingon blood in Star Trek 6 Undiscovered Country is pink, you know?
Yeah, the classic getting around age ratings.
Yeah, exactly. So they do this fight quite well, I think. They're able to kind of show more without showing as much as you think they're showing.
Mm-hmm.
No red blood, just a lot of damp spots where someone would be showing blood.
Yeah, this action scene's pretty good though, and it goes on for a while. So it has like multiple phases, which I like in an action sequence. So we start off with like the fight scene at the funeral, then we move to a sort of chase scene through the streets of Tokyo. I think they're in Tokyo at that point.
Yeah.
And then we get to the bullet train, which is my favourite part.
The bullet train bit is really good, because Mariko is like you can leave me here, I'm fine, thank you for getting me this far. Bye. And obviously he follows her onto the train and just like reclines his chair in front of this Japanese businessman. And he's just like, oh, that's good, that's relaxing. But whenever there's a joke in this movie, it always throws me, because it's not a funny film.
It feels in character though. It's not getting all wacky.
Yeah, no, it's not getting all wacky. It's not getting all wacky. It's just for the tone of this movie. I'm like, oh, what's happening here? Yeah, so he's insisting on following Mariko all the way to wherever she's going, family home in the south, and he's like, that's a pretty silly idea. They end up going there anyway later on in the movie.
Yeah, it fails in exactly the same way she predicted that it would.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Logan knew what he was saying half an hour earlier in the movie. But we convince her to get off at the next... Well, convince the Yakuza show up, and there's a big fight scene on the roof of the bullet train.
Yes, it's very good.
Very good.
They have to jump to avoid all the stuff.
Logan freaks one out by jumping early, thinking there's going to be one coming up, so the guy jumps, and he jumps into a hovering sign.
Good stuff.
Very, very good. I like that move quite a bit. I wonder, the people in the carriages above where the fighting is happening, are they just seeing metal claws flying through their carriage?
Oh, you would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, the film never really shows us the interior perspective, apart from one shot of Mariko with like a window above her, with like a Yakuza looking at her.
Yeah, but she's got headphones in.
And
not saying
and Wolverine never actually stabs that carriage at all. But yeah, so we get off and we're gonna stay in a hotel, aren't we, Kyle?
Yes, a Japanese love hotel, which is a real thing.
We're not staying in one of the nice hotels downtown, because that's where they'll look for us. We're going to stay 8 blocks away. And yep, like Kyle says, a Japanese love. Adjoining rooms? We want adjoining rooms, Kyle, don't we?
Don't do that sort of thing in a love hotel.
Well, maybe they do. They've just not got any 2 rooms next to each other. I know very little about Japanese love hotels, I'll be honest with you. But they say they've only got 3 rooms available. My understanding of this is
broad, but it's like it's a hotel for having sex in. You understand the concept.
I understand the concept, yeah. So, we have only 3 rooms available, Kyle. We have the nurse's office, another one. Do you remember the other
dungeon.
One? A dungeon, yeah.
Medieval dungeon, yeah.
Yeah, we've dungeon, the nurse's office, or the mission to Mars. Now, I thought, given that Logan was quite badly hurt, it would be more thematically appropriate if they were in the nurse's office. You know,
I don't think it would have literal medical equipment in it.
No, but you would get the theme about maybe Mariko, because she's love interest, being the healer of the warrior, you know, try to patch him up a little bit. But no, we're
going to Mars, baby.
We're going to Mars, baby. I got massive Saints Row vibes. You know, because they do that movie at the end of the 3rd game.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was very, very much the vibe I got in this room. I was like,
see, my
kind of weird.
My association is worse, because there used to be a Lego series about a mission to Mars, and that's where my mind immediately goes.
All right,
so
this was a Lego series about Japanese love hotels.
Well, the X-rated Lego, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to go to a separate website for that one.
So, very strange room with like space rocks on the bed. I don't know. A plastic
yeah.
moon rock cup chair.
It doesn't look overly comfortable and cozy,
No.
Which I guess isn't what you're looking for in a love hotel, but I would expect it to be a bit more plush.
Yeah, listen, people like what they like, but it's got to be comfy,
It's gotta be a bit more classy if you're gonna do your space mission fetish thing.
Yeah. Do you need to bring your own costumes? I saw no costumes.
Yeah, it does seem like you have to bring your own costumes.
God, imagine you show up in your Mission to Mars outfit and the only room available is the dungeon.
You're like, God damn it!
I
got this Martian mask and everything.
Need to roleplay being like Planet of the Apes. Like, oh, I'm Charlton Heston.
Yeah, you do the Star Trek thing where it's like we're in this medieval castle because we have the set, but it's actually an alien planet.
Yeah, woo. Exactly, yeah, use your budget wisely. But it's got a balcony, Kyle, because we're classy. And great shot of Wolverine standing still dressed in black with his hands on the railings.
Yeah, it's very Blade Runner.
Yeah, very Blade Runner, right? Love it. With the neon lights behind him and to the side of him. But then he looks into the window and there's Dream Grey.
Her place in this movie is just so strange to me. Like, okay, Nathan, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this a real ghost?
No, it's not a real ghost.
Okay. Are you sure?
I am very sure.
Right. So Logan's just losing his mind.
She always appears in the quieter moments, and I think it's supposed to be like a manifestation of Logan's subconscious. Like, this is the point in the movie where in a traditional X-Men movie you would be discussing the morals of the cure, whatever, This is the debate about, does Logan really want to die? Well, the person that he loves is dead and we'd be waiting there for him. Or
it's moving on, Nathan.
This is what it's about, Kyle.
Unfortunately, this is also when, as you say, the movie slows down quite a lot.
Yeah, I kind of, the Japanese Love Hotel is the last great shout of the movie, Kyle, or at least for the second act anyway. Because, yeah, we Dream Grey's like, okay, Logan, you just die now, and Logan collapses out in the rain. Thank God Murko wasn't actually sleeping. Takes him to the Japanese Love Hotel's owner's son's vets.
Yes, because he's an animal.
Yeah, because he's an animal. And she goes to a little funny bit, goes to shake his hand, and the guy freaks out because apparently his claws came out a few times during the stitching. Logan's not used to medical care.
I mean, he is a vet, though. I imagine animals are quite scratchy, too, when you try and treat them.
Absolutely. No,
it's a cute little scene, but yeah, then they go to Nagasaki, and they hang out in a mansion for a few days.
Yeah.
And that's what the movie becomes for a while.
The movie becomes for a little while. They go
as you say, this is when, Yukio just disappears.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Mariko calls her and says, no, don't come. And I'm like, can you come, though? I like you.
Well, yeah, so Mariko's dad goes to Yukio at the funeral and says that you were a doll for a child who has now outgrown you. Like,
yes.
She's on the run, she's missing, you really have no use at the moment. Which to
it
me,
hints at a very dark story that they don't explore much with.
I think it's just the dad was never a fan of her, and it was just Grandpappy kept her around to please isolated, rich granddaughter.
Yeah, like, her deal is she was a street orphan who was adopted by this super rich family. Yeah. She's basically Robin.
And yeah, but this super rich family, Grandpappy man, head of it, the patriarch, he liked his mutants. I believe that, and that, he recruits Viper, he's got Yukio in the service, he likes Logan. I think this all started with Logan. So I can believe that he would take Yukio in. But Daddy, who doesn't like mutants at all, he's like, Granddad's not here to protect you now. And that almost felt like an announcement to the audience in the cinema that Yukio's going away for a little while.
Yeah.
This movie's outgrown you, because I was looking up the cast of this movie and Mariko was second billing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that makes sense.
Because she's the love interest? I thought Yukio would much more deserve it.
I mean, she's in most of the movie, though.
I see. In my head, I feel Yukio was in most of it.
We're just talking about who she's missing for half the movie.
She's like at the start, first act, and she's back in the third act. She's just gone for the second act. She's just not in the second act. That's it. But yes, she's just gone. And during all this, we've got Viper showcasing her powers because she's working with Japanese Hawkeye, who's like getting poisoned, but then she can undo the poison as well. She's healing breath.
Yeah, she has healing breath as well as poison breath.
Yeah, very strange, very strange.
Or maybe she just sort of breathes in and takes the poison back again. I have no idea.
Does that come back? Does that at any point in the movie later on?
No, I don't think so.
Is maybe that to explain why Mariko's dad isn't dead later on when.
Okay, I don't think it's necessarily poison. It's more like acid, isn't it?
I thought it was a viper. I thought it was poison. I know it kind of burns, but acid poison.
Well, when we see asshole dad later, he has a sort of burn mark on his face.
That's true. That's true. Or is that just black ink because he was stabbed with a poison pen?
Oh, I don't know.
You know, like who knows?
Viper is weird because she's such a comic book. She goes beyond being a comic book villain to being like a Bond henchman.
Yeah, that I in my notes I've got like she belongs in a Bond movie. See, especially at the end when she shows up in like the green
she's got
leotard.
like the green. Yeah, she looks like she's out of a '60s Bond movie.
Yeah, it's like literally Hugh Jackman's strapped to a chair like Sean Connery would be in like You Only Live Twice or something.
Yeah,
and she walks out with that idea, but it's something from like Die Another Day.
Yeah, and she's got that big, like, almost like 40s hair going on as well.
Yeah, it's... I wonder if it's a deliberate throwback. I think James Mangold's a Bond fan.
You can make a decent Bond film.
Yeah, go for it, James Mangold.
Someone go for it, it's been a while.
We're working on that, you know, James Bond movies are like one of those event cinemas, you know, we don't just... It's not the MCU, we don't pump one of these out every other year.
I did want to point out that, because I have to, Logan is shirtless for a lot of this movie, and I started having to keep a running tally of every time he has his shirt off in this movie.
I noticed you had a shirtless Logan counter.
It just happens and often. I mean, look, no disrespect. Hugh Jackman, he got in great freaking shape for this movie. This is some peak Hugh Jackman going on right here.
Yeah.
But yes, he does have his shirt off for a lot of this movie.
He does. I have no defence or counterpoint or anything. I have no criticism of it either, actually, to be honest with you. You can keep your shirt off.
I'm not critiquing, I'm simply making an observation.
Okay, you're making that observation, you pervert.
Look, Nathan, it's a love story, okay? Sort of. Okay, can we talk about this just a little bit? Because I did say this is the best of the three, but there's still like an uncomfortable angle to it to me, which is, how old is Mariko supposed to be? She looks somewhere in her 20s at max.
I think she looks older than that.
Does she? Where would you place her?
Oh, 30.
You think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think she looks older than me, right?
Okay, I'll agree with that, but I wouldn't have said 30.
I think I could safely say 30, 32. I don't think she looks... Listen.
Okay.
She's definitely, compared to Hugh Jackman, younger than Hugh Jackman, and she's gorgeous. But I definitely don't think that there's any commentary to be had here about Hugh Jackman having relations with a 20-year-old.
I mean, it's more Logan being 200 years old that makes it weird.
Yes.
But, okay, maybe I'm just thinking she's younger because her place in the story is as someone's granddaughter, right?
Yeah, but keep in mind it's a World War II vet. Like, he's very old.
I suppose that's true. Okay. But yeah, I don't think the movie necessarily needed this to be romantic.
No, it didn't.
Because when it kept sort of happening, I'm like, are we doing this? I think we're doing this. And then they kiss and then they hook up and I'm like, this is a bit odd.
This is your... Especially... 4-quadrant appeal, Kyle.
This is for the mums, yeah, I understand.
This is for the people that like their romance and movie. Okay, this is for you.
It's for me.
It's for you.
It's for me, and I should shut up and stop complaining. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, eat your gruel. You always say in all your YouTube videos, "Oh, I'm a sucker for a love story." You know, no. You've got it. Be happy. You've ruined the movie.
I wouldn't say ruined, but no. it's better than the other ones because, I don't know, Mariko is a slightly more in-depth character than Lady from X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes.
But yeah, it's still not necessary to the movie.
Kyle, dare I say, this feels like a real movie.
It does feel like a real movie. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Things happen, there's rising tension.
Yeah, the stakes are being raised. But this is all part of these twists and turns, because at this point in the movie, Kyle, we don't know who the baddie is. Is the baddie Mariko's Minister of Justice fiancé, who's still a factor in this movie? Is it her dad, whose name we're not even remembering? Is it
Japanese Hawkeye?
Is it Japanese Hawkeye? Is it Viper? Because Viper keeps showing up with Japanese Hawkeye's henchmen without actually seeing Japanese Hawkeye. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's...
I'm sure this character has a name, but it's funnier to call him Japanese Hawkeye.
Exactly. It's just, you know, there's so many twists and turns about who are we actually running from right now. We don't really know. Because when Mariko gets kidnapped from her...
And the smoothest kidnapping attempt I've ever seen in a movie, by the way.
Kidnapper Logan
they pulled that off without a hitch.
Yeah, right? One of them doesn't make it back to the car. One of them gets thrown away.
Yeah, but he doesn't turn them in, though, you know, so it's all good.
Oh, no, he does, Kyle, because that's where the scene cuts. He's like, I don't rat on people. And then Logan brings out a claw and seems to stab him, but then asks the question again, where are they? And then the scene cuts. I think he does rat them out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I misread that then.
I think like he says, I don't rat out people, and then Logan doubles down and says, well, let's see how you really are, and then the scene cuts and then the movie progresses. So I'm inclined to believe...
They managed to get in there, get Mariko without waking Logan up, even though she's not like bound or unconscious or anything. She's yelling and screaming.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. They got her good.
Logan's just a really heavy sleeper, I guess.
But you think, oh, she's been taken to the bad guy. No, she's been taken to the racist, who, strangely enough, isn't the bad guy of this movie. He just wants, like...
No, he's just like an unrelated third party.
Yeah, he's like, my dad didn't love me, he was obsessed with my daughter, who I'm going to keep under the thumb and maybe try and change her ways, and I will run the business because she's dead. I won't let her run the business, and I hate mutants. You're not a mutant though, so you're not going to see Yukio anymore. That and Logan you're not going to see anymore. And you're going to marry the Minister of Justice, and that's what's going to happen, you know?
Yeah, but then, double twist, ninjas and Japanese Hawkeye come to save her?
With Viper? Yeah, exactly, right? And they take her to her granddad, but the granddad's not alive, we don't know that. And
well, he died, but you see, Yukio, she didn't foresee his death.
Yeah, right. So Yukio goes to pick up Logan because he's by himself. And, you know, he borrowed the mobile phone of... how long does it take to drive from Tokyo to Nagasaki?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't think it's not going to be a huge journey because Japan's not that big, right?
I thought Japan was quite a large place, a long place, like a tall. I think
it's like roughly equivalent to the UK, isn't it?
What, the home islands? Do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously Japan actually stretches all the way down to Taiwan.
Yeah, Japan is a series of islands, but I assume this is all taking place on the main island.
Yeah, I'd need to look at one of those, you know, scalar map websites that as you move a country around.
Like my scale for a road trip is borked because I live in Canada, right?
Oh,
so
yes,
like a 6-hour road trip is like not that long for me.
Which is crazy to me, you know.
I drove 7 hours in one day last year, okay?
It's just crazy. I went on a 7-hour coach ride to London once, and it was I'm never doing it again.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is it's not a full day's drive, would be my guess.
But Yukio's back in the movie.
Yes, finally.
So happy Yukio's back. The film starts to pick up again here.
Yeah, and Logan's like, no, I have to do this all on my own. But she's like, nah, I'm going to come with you anyway.
So we're sitting outside Mariko's fiance's apartment, office block? I don't know.
It's like both.
There's a line that Yukio has about she can foresee his death.
Mm-hmm.
And she sees him dying with his heart in his hand.
Yes.
Which we think is what is happening when he goes to cut out a little nanoprobe Borg drone nanoprobe?
Yes, because his powers haven't actually been taken at this point. They've just been suppressed.
Well, if his powers had been taken, I would have thought his claws wouldn't work, so I never thought they'd been taken. I just thought his regenerative powers had...
Well, okay.
Yeah.
This has always been the confusing part of Wolverine, which is he has a healing factor and he has bone claws. And are those two things the same power, or are those two different powers?
I think they're two different powers.
I think so too. So, because he could still use his claws even though his powers are being suppressed.
Yeah. I wonder if because he can't regenerate every time he separates his knuckles.
They conveniently don't focus on that, but you'd think, yes, constantly his hands would be bleeding, right?
Yep, absolutely would. He decides to do surgery on himself back at the Grandpappy's fortress because no one's there anymore. There's like a dead Yakuza guy on the ground or whatever. Or not Yakuza guy, just like a henchman.
No,
it's
they're
like, come and
they're
get
like,
me.
They're Bad Dad's henchmen.
But yeah, come and get me with like a picture of the facility. It looks like a old traditional Japanese tower, but it's made out of metal and technology. Ultimate James Bond stuff, right?
It's very James Bond.
And he decides he's going to do the procedure on himself and he's going to cut out the Borg nanoprobe on the X-ray machine that you can see. But Dad isn't dead, Kylo, for some reason, and he's now in half samurai outfit.
Yeah, he decided to put on his samurai gear to go and murder Logan.
Yep. Even though, why does he know Logan's here? I don't know. Maybe they heard him talking.
This is the most pointless fight in the movie.
This is we're tying up loose ends.
At this point, Bad Dad has ceased to matter entirely to the movie. Oh, also Logan threw Bad fiancé off a balcony.
Yeah, it was just after the heart in your hand line from Yukio. Yeah, they go up and he's got sex workers and stuff with him, and he's dancing around with his tie on and nothing else.
Specifically, white women, which I think is such a weird detail.
Yeah, it's quite. Yeah. Well, remember, there's like another Japanese man like the look of Viper out in the street earlier on in the movie. I wonder if that's like a trope in Japan.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. We're too uninformed to know. But he gives him a hard time for basically cheating on Mariko. Like, I thought you'd be a little bit over this, all having these women in your office. You just slept with his fiancée.
Yeah, but Nathan, he knows that she doesn't love him anyway, I guess, so it's different. I have no idea.
No, it's just hypocrisy. That's where I'm drawing the line right there. Just hypocrisy.
Well, also, he did send a hit on her, so,
Oh, yes, I suppose, but that
does seem like the worst version.
Yes, but that's not adultery. That's directed murder, We're just focusing on adultery, Kel, and why he's a hypocrite, right?
Good bits, though. He throws him off the balcony and he lands in the pool.
He does.
And yeah, Yukio's like, how'd you know there was a pool down there? I didn't.
Yep, absolutely. Yukio having a fight with Evil Dad, and she's holding her own quite well, but in defending the hell out of Logan, who's on an operating table, cutting into his own chest to reach up and grab man. It's a very uncomfortable, unpleasant scene to watch, actually.
Yeah, self-surgery is never that pleasant to watch.
Yeah,
I also don't know how the hell he's doing this when he's just got normal human healing abilities. I feel like he'd pass out from the pain pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I would think so too. Maybe it's just hundreds of years of pain management. Like he's experienced, he survived a nuke hitting his back,
I suppose he did, yeah. He's just stubborn.
Yeah, he's just stubborn. So he cuts across just beneath his ribs, because I was thinking, you're not going to crack your adamantium ribs. They're not going to regenerate. Even if you cut through them, like, what, you're just going to have a big cracked rib cage forever? Don't do that.
Yeah, he reaches around them.
Yeah, and he sort of cuts beneath his ribs and then goes up and behind them. Oh, it's crazy. So he does kind of die momentarily after he brings out the nanoprobe.
Yeah, but then his body starts to regenerate.
Yeah, It looked like the little bowler hat droid from the Meet the Robinsons.
It's too obscure for me, my friend.
You've never seen Meet the Robinsons, right? It's a Pixar movie.
I've never seen Meet the Robinsons.
Okay. Very good movie.
Is that a Pixar movie?
Yeah, an early Pixar movie. I say early
Pixar. It's a Disney movie. I don't think it's a Pixar movie.
Meet the Robinsons is a Pixar movie.
No, Meet the Robinsons isn't part of the Pixar canon.
Yes, it is.
I'm looking this up right now. I'm going to prove you wrong.
What does it say, Kyle?
It says Disney. It says Disney. It doesn't say Pixar.
Oh, shit. I've been duped live on the podcast. I was looking it up as well. Well, it's a
You're ready to be so smug.
It's shoot me down. Oh, I'm an idiot. I've been exposed. Well, okay, let's keep the exact same sentence the same, but it was a Disney movie, Kyle. Right? It's still a great film.
Nathan, I can save you. It looks like the droid from The Incredibles. There you go.
I think the bowler hat robot from Meet the Robinsons looks a bit like the Incredibles roller droid, but I don't think this looks a lot like that because it's too small. It's too small.
Right, okay. I was trying to save you, but you've rejected me.
No,
Fine.
it's somewhere in the middle. I think the bowler hat droid is somewhere in between the two of those things, and these things are the two extremes, right?
It's like the evolutionary chart.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You've got it. You've absolutely got it. Oh, there we go. Consensus. Watch Meet the Robinsons, everyone. It's a great film.
Well, Logan wakes up and he takes over the fight against Bad Dad.
He does, and the fight.
But he's back to being immortal now, so it goes pretty one-sided.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's filmed in shadow, so it's just silhouettes fighting. Like, it's quite a nice fight, actually. Mm-hmm. Logan just seeing a big shadow sword go through him, and then he just pulls it out of himself, and because Hugh Jackman again is shirtless, he's just a massive brute hulking over Bad Dad.
I didn't think about this at the time, but I'm thinking about it now. It's pretty good shot to get Logan clean through with a sword, because if it's just a normal sword, it would stop as soon as it hits a skeleton. Yep,
absolutely. I'm surprised that there wasn't adamantium swords in this movie. It just felt like, does the Silver Samurai have adamantium swords? Okay, well fine, the Silver Samurai does have an adamantium sword, but it's a fire adamantium sword. I just meant like akin to Deadpool's katanas,
Uh-huh.
Like just nothing, no frills, just a basic sword, but it happens made of adamantium. I thought this movie would have some of them.
There's a scene after they survive Nagasaki where he said he kind of tries to present him with his officer's sword, right?
Yeah.
And Logan says no, and then Logan says, "Keep it safe for me."
Yep.
Does that come back up? Does it get that sword again later in the movie?
I think that may be the sword.
If he does, they don't focus on it.
I think that's the sword that Yukio takes off of the pedestal in the medical room to defend Logan from Bad Dad. I think that's that sword. So she
has her own sword at the start of the movie.
She does, but she picks up a sword kind of in haste during that fight. And why would her sword be in Grandpappy's medical suite? I
don't know. Yeah. There was just a big focus on that scene with the sword, and I wasn't sure if it comes back. The whole two hands thing comes back.
The whole you had it with two hand thing, that does come back. I was going to say that does. Yes, I think Yukio might be using the officer's sword by the end of the movie.
Okay.
Would have been nice if we had some, one-handed Wolverine action where he's using, I suppose with the samurai sword you've got to use two hands, so maybe that wouldn't have been culturally respectful, but you could picture him using a sword with one hand and then using his Wolverine claws in the other.
He does do that for a little bit when one of his claws gets broken.
Yeah, he does. Is that with the big fire sword, though?
I think it is, yeah.
Because what's better than adamantium, Kyle? Hot adamantium. Because it doesn't melt.
Apparently so. Well, you have to cut those claws off to suck up that bone marrow.
Yeah, because Viper they've got Logan on lockdown, but he had a big fight with the ninjas and they had rope darts. There's an R-rated version of that fight where he impales them with forklifts and stuff, I think. I've only watched it once on YouTube, I can't really remember it. It's not in the theatrical cut of the movie, because this isn't an R-rated movie, it's quite gory.
It's, because I was watching that and I'm like, okay, you can't kill Logan, so just trying to slow him down with these ropes is a good idea. But stretches believability a bit, because why does Logan just stop cutting the ropes, which he could very easily do?
They don't need them alive, surely. You can kill Logan and his bone marrow and genetic mutations will still be present in his body.
I'm not saying they need him alive. I'm saying we can't kill him. It's impossible.
Because they've taken the Borg nanoprobe out, yeah.
Yeah, because he's invincible, they're just trying to stop him.
Do they know he's done that, though?
I guess they have a guess, right?
Yeah, when they're hitting him a lot and he's not going down, probably.
Yeah. But Japanese Hawkeye, he has poison-tipped arrows that seem to do a lot of damage.
Yep. Probably more like stun damage, I imagine.
Yeah. The finale has a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on. So, we've got Logan locked down, and Viper is trying to goat him out to bring his claws out, because when his claws come out, they can, crush his hand in such a way that the claws can't retract back in.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but yeah.
I guess, like, there must be a space in his hand where the claws take up that space, and then if you crushed in on the hand, you sort of close that gap, so there's nowhere for them to go.
Yeah, but is this chair made out of adamantium? How strong is this chair?
Oh, yeah, you try to say that when the claws retract back in, they would just crack through it. Yeah! I mean, yeah, it's a metal chair. Yeah, sure, why not? Because apparently, this grandpappy that died, quotations, had spent, like, many years getting a massive reserve of adamantium and shipping it to his compound in the north and almost bankrupting the company. So
he's built himself a giant mech suit.
Yeah, but I imagine if he's got some spare, you would make an adamantium dungeon chair.
Sure, just in case you ever need one of those.
In case you ever need one of those, you know? He knew Wolverine might not come quietly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, that chair wasn't needed because his gauntlets and the Silver Samurai outfit also have lockdown bone marrow stealing powers.
Yes, it's like the suit is built specifically for this purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was built specifically for this purpose.
I guess it was, yeah.
Because he was like, what mutant do I know that's immortal? My old friend Logan, let's torture him.
There's a good fight with Snake Lady too, where she sheds her skin like a snake.
It's very cool. Unsettling, actually.
It's unsettling, but it's neat. It's a neat effect.
Yeah. Oh, she takes her wig off, her hair or whatever, yeah, and it's like scaly, yeah.
She also gets taken out by Yukio in just a pretty brutal way.
Yeah, Yukio like, does flips around her and gets the elevator cables tied around her and jumps down. And as she jumps down, the counterweight throws her up. And as she's travelling up, she gets like
the counterweight smashes on her.
Weight from another elevator counterweight smashes on her and kills her, and she's just left hanging. Yeah. So Yukio is falling down the elevator shaft on the rope and jumps out right in time to see Logan basically dying, and surprise, the Silver Samurai's grandpappy inside, and this suit has been designed just to keep him alive. And in this time, Mariko is nursing dead Japanese Hawkeye.
Yeah, at some point, Japanese Hawkeye kind of dies to protect her.
Yeah, but
because he decides, despite being always loyal to
grandpappy,
evil grandpappy, he's not going to be anymore because, as we said, he did get stabbed in the knee. So that's changed his ways.
That has changed his ways. So we have adamantium claws just lying around like kitchen knives.
Yes.
So Mariko picks some of them up in a little cloth and starts throwing them like throwing stars at grandpappy because he's now exposed because he takes his helmet off.
And she chucks them at his neck, and for some reason that makes the suit freak out.
Yeah, I wonder if inside the suit, grandpappy is himself freaking out and he's like hitting buttons.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, right. He's like seizing all over the place. Yeah, I can believe it.
Because it is like a mech suit, because we see him like rip it open and he's not got like his arms in the arms, right? He's more sort of controlling it from the chest.
He's like Jeff Bridges in Iron Man 1.
Yes, he's Jeff Bridgesing it.
Yeah, in the Ironmonger suit. But this suit also hasn't fixed the icing problem, so it's struggling to deal with the snow when he is a victim of gravity.
Yeah, when he gets chucked out a hole in the wall.
Yeah, because they're in this freak out. He's able to stop bone marrow stealing from Logan. Now, I actually thought during this fight, Kyle, that you can see Grandpappy getting younger, right?
Yes, and there's a sort of unsettling CGI effect going on.
Right, but because the powers are working, I thought, at the point in which you stop stealing the bone marrow from Logan, you will just stay that age that you got to.
I would have thought that too. No, but he starts aging again.
Yeah, no, I thought maybe, to actually have regenerative healing powers, you need to take it all from Logan. But if you don't take it all from Logan, you would still just be given de-aging. And then, maybe you and Logan could have been friends, and every 20 years he just gives you some of his bone marrow to keep you young, and he gets to be immortal, and he keeps as long as you and him remain on good friendship terms, he'll keep you young and everything's well. But no, he wants to murder Logan, But it turns out, no, that's not how the powers work. You do actually need to complete it on Logan, because the second that the bone marrow is taken, he starts rapidly aging again.
Mm-hmm. Also, Logan doesn't start aging. He just sort of becomes like a shriveled husk.
Yeah, he gets jaundice. He gets very yellow.
Yeah. He goes through that sort of, the guy in Last Crusades thing.
Yeah.
But shouldn't he, actually be... If it's an aging thing, shouldn't he start turning into a 200-year-old man?
I think that it's an aging thing for Grandpappy because he's the one stealing the powers, but for Logan, like, he never has aged to an old man age before. Like, his body doesn't have a blueprint for what that would look like.
Right, okay.
This is Logan's final form.
Gotcha.
That's why he's got the spiky hair.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, the finale of this movie is fun, but there's a lot about it that just like, okay, and then that happens, and then that happens, and then that happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters the movie's got to wrap up. The only one that gets to walk away is Mariko's Justice fiance.
Yeah. Well, he gets thrown off a balcony and then he's done, yeah.
Yeah, but he's still alive.
I forgot to point out, there's, in the fight with Bad Dad, Logan spears him and says, oh, you tried to kill your daughter, and now you get to live with that. And then Bad Dad attacks him again, and Logan says, never mind, I'm going to kill you now.
I think that's like Logan giving him a chance. It's like, listen, you're not going to kill me. Just stop this now. You will now need to live with the crime you've committed of trying to kill your only daughter. But then when he still keeps running at Logan after Logan's given him this chance, it's like, right, okay, well, you're never going to stop. You're actually just going to keep getting him away. You got to die. You know? Like, I think it would fair reprisal.
I think it would have worked better if it was Logan saving Yukio in that moment. Maybe.
Oh, I see. Yeah. He's like, I had to kill him because he was going to kill Yukio. I see.
But whatever, he's dead now.
Oh yeah, whatever, he's dead now. But yeah, so that's the fight. That's the conflict over. Mariko is going to now be the head of the family business.
Yep.
And Yukio and Logan are going to get in a plane. But, you know, we have our goodbyes, you know. Mariko and Yukio are talking, and they're always going to be sisters, Kyle. And Mariko gets given a big brown and gold suitcase to take onto the flight, but don't linger on it. And Wolverine and Mariko get a goodbye kiss, and she's like, well, won't you visit? And then he kisses her, and then he says, but you could actually stay. And he says, no, he's a soldier, and he's been hiding for too long, and it's time for him to get back involved in helping people.
Which is weird, because in the next scene, he's like, I don't know where I'm going.
If Kevin Feige made this movie, there would be an X-Men animated series Sting right there.
100%, yeah. You would hear it in the background. Na, 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 na.
Yeah, right?
Because the implication of that scene is pretty obvious. It's like, okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to start being an X-Man again. I've had my arc for the movie, and now it's time to go rejoin my team.
Right, but I think like he's just like, I don't know where I'm going to start. You know, maybe he's just going to be a solo crusader, right? Because there's some discussion earlier in the movie about how Grandpappy, back when we thought him dead and just being a kindly old man, he called Logan a Ronin, which apparently is a samurai without a master.
Yes.
So, you know, he has no strings on me, and now he's Ultron. And we're sitting on the plane, Kel, Yukio and Wolverine, because Yukio is Wolverine's bodyguard. It's been joked about a couple times in the movie. And I think they're a good pairing.
I would like to see a movie of them having an adventure. I wish it was this movie, but it's not.
Yeah. Now, what was that big suitcase that she brought on the plane? Who knows? Because we never see... I hope there's a deleted scene that explains it, Kyle. For those not in the know, it's authentic comic booksy, kind of accurate Wolverine gloves and mask. A little bit of fan service. Yeah. I don't know why they cut it. I really don't. It's not like it's not like the X-Men movies are beholden to use what they introduced at the end of the last movie.
Yeah. Here's my guess is just that they knew at this point they were doing Days of Future Past and they were going to do the black costumes. They're like, we're just not going to do this because it's going to give people false hope.
How do you think I felt at the end of First Class?
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, so that's the movie. We hit the credits of the two of them just sitting on a plane, going like, where to? Who knows? And then we end up in an airport. Who knows how much time has passed? Yukio is gone, and Wolverine is in different clothing. And there's, you know, they're back in the US. There's adverts on the TV for Trask Enterprises helping and better humanity. And Logan opts
definitely the same Trask that was in X2.
Definitely the same Trask that was in X2. And we're opting for a pat down, aren't we, Kyle? Because we don't go through airport scanners, because earlier in this movie they get set off. And somebody else the airport security guy speaking to an old man behind him saying, you can just go through, sir. And he's like, I would prefer to wait. And he recognises that voice as Eric Lensher. It's Magneto, Kyle. Dun dun dun.
No, you know what? I think even knowing that this was coming, this is a top tier post-credit scene, right?
It is.
This is up there. Because you look at it, you're like, okay, we've done a reboot, but no, we're back. Magneto's back. Charles Xavier's back. They're working together.
Right? So again, first X-Men movie I properly saw in the cinema, right? And because what was X-Men Last Stand 2007, I'm 8 when that comes out, and now I'm like 14 when this comes out. Those movies are like timeless parts of your childhood. You're not really aware of release schedules and how long... The movie's just always been in my conscious knowledge.
Yeah.
And then this is like contemporary movies for me at the point of the Wolverine. So, oh my god, they're back! The characters from my childhood, despite still being a young teenager myself, are back, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah...
I mean, look, even in movie time, 6 years is quite a while, and it was pretty established, like, oh, we're probably not going to see these characters again.
Yeah, listen, it's not a long time in the MCU, baby. We go 5 years between sequels.
Yeah, that's the modern day, though, isn't it?
But I suppose back then it was a little bit different. But yeah, so everyone went crazy for this post-credit scene. It is a pretty big deal. So he's like, Wolverine, big things are coming, and we need your help because you're a mutant and you're the X-Man. And it's like, why should I believe you? You know, you don't need to believe me. And in the background, you can see hustle and bustle security people running over because a man is frozen in place as he's trying to punch an old man with bone claws. But everyone freezes.
At that point, everyone around is frozen as well.
Well, yeah, but you can see the exact moment everyone freezes, right? Because there is some chaos happening of security agents running around, and they're running towards Wolverine and Logan, and then they freeze. Like, if you're paying attention to around
it's convenient that they all froze in a way that Charles could get through in his wheelchair.
Yeah, it's like a little video game path, isn't it?
It really is. It looks like a kart racer.
Yeah. But yeah, you see, he just comes gliding in his electric wheelchair. Imagine it was like a manual wheelchair and you see him wheeling himself in.
It'd be a bit less dignified.
Yeah. So he gets himself over. It's like, hello, Logan. As I told you many years, you're not the only one with gifts, right? This for its day was Star Trek Picard, Kyle, you know? This is your iconic characters coming back.
Yeah, so the actual explanation of this is that he took over the body of that guy, right?
From The Last Stand, that was Moira McTaggart's medical patient that he shows on the TV to his students.
It's like, this man has no brain, so it's morally fine if I take over his body.
Apparently in some companion comic for this, it was also Charles' brother.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it was Cassandra Nova.
Sure. It was Cassandra Nova, yeah.
But yeah.
Charles looks the same in front, but under the clothes there's some different stuff going on now.
Some different stuff going on. But then, like, apparently other people have tried to headcanon it, like, that when he took over the body, he can shapeshift it or something. Like, he can augment the bones.
Sure, okay.
Who knows, right? But he's back. And it was part of the post-credit of The Last Stand that he took over that body, because I think Moira McTaggart says Charles to him when he says, like, hello, Moira. So this is, you know, there was a seed planted for this in 2007.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, so bad things are coming. Charles and Eric are working together, which from the First Class stance isn't that big of a revelation, but for the original trilogy cast, this is quite the turn, you know?
Mm-hmm. But, well, Nathan, that's all well and good, but Nathan, where the fuck is Stan Lee?
We are 3 weeks into this show now.
This is a drought.
We're almost 1 month with no Stan Lee. Last spotted in 2007's Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Is this just because of the MCU? He's just doing the MCU movies now? He doesn't have time for these X-Men movies?
When they didn't let him in to Reed and Sue's wedding, and he says, I should be on that list, I'm Stan Lee, and they escorted him out, that was them escorting him out of the Fox universe.
Get out of here, you crazy old man.
Crazy old man, yeah, we don't know who you are anymore. So yeah, and that is the thing. So this was 2013. He's in Iron Man 2.
He's
Iron
in
Man
all the
3.
Marvel movies.
Yeah, he's all. So I wonder if it's got something to do with him being in my head, and I can't exactly place it. I could be thinking of Captain America 1, but I'm sure he's some sort of general in...
He's a general in Captain America.
Yeah, but I thought he was some sort of general in Days of Future Past as well. I don't know. It's entirely possible that he signed an exclusive contract with Disney or something, and this was like... now, this would be sort of trivia lost to time now that they're all the one company, but this could be some sort of competition deal where it's like, you will exclusively show up in Marvel movies. Though,
He's definitely in Deadpool, though, right? Because there's the scene where Deadpool is like, fuck off, Stan Lee.
so that was a trailer for Deadpool 2.
Right, okay.
But he is in Deadpool because he works in the strip club. Yeah, so he is in Deadpool.
Mhm.
And he was doing the Sony Spider-Man movies at this point, which was long before there was any deal with Sony, because this would be when Andrew Garfield was just Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know. It would have been really easy to slot him in this as like a tourist or something.
Yeah, in Japan,
reacting
yeah.
to a fight scene.
Exactly, right? Or like in the bar. Maybe this movie's too serious for a Stanley cameo. I don't think he's in
They've put him in
Logan.
more serious movies than this.
Has he?
I'm looking back. He was in Daredevil. Daredevil's a movie that takes itself intensely seriously.
But yeah, but it's schlock.
Yeah, okay, fair. But
Like
I
this,
don't know, he's
this
in like
movie.
he's in like an Infinity War, isn't he?
But that's the comic book movie experience, you
Yeah.
know?
Okay.
You know when like Martin Scorsese says like movies aren't cinema and they're like roller coasters, they're popcorn flicks, they're like maybe competently made but they're there for a good time, they're not really about much. This is one of those movies that I think would ride that line of that critique. You know? Like this is like a, in quotations, a real movie.
It's too much of a real movie for Stan
It's
Lee.
too much. Yeah, Stanley doesn't do real. Exactly. I don't even know if he's in Fantastic. I really can't remember. But yeah,
Well, we don't have to worry about that yet, Nathan.
we don't have to worry about that yet. That's us. That is The Wolverine 2013. Kyle, where can the audience find you on the internet?
Well, first off, would you like to hear what we're doing next week?
Yeah, sure. What are we listening to or watching next week?
Next week, it should be a good one because we're doing X-Men Days of Future Past.
Oh boy, I rub my hands together. I'm very excited for this. I might watch the Rogue Cut.
Okay.
I'm just telling people now online. I don't think it's as big as a cut of a difference as I originally thought. I've never actually watched the Rogue Cut before. It's just been one of those versions that people talk about. I've never watched the scenes online, the deleted scenes. But I love this movie, Days of Future Past, the theatrical version. Simply top shelf X-Men. Love it to bits. Maybe, but I've never watched it from the perspective as a critic, just as from the perspective as a fan. So it's possible that when I take my, iOS notes app out to start ticking shit off, I'll be like, oh, maybe this movie's got some real dubious stuff in it. But right now, pre-watching it, because I haven't watched it for a couple of years now, I love this movie so much. Looking forward to it, Kale. Absolutely looking
Good
forward
stuff.
to Days of Future Past.
Well, as asked before, people can of course find me at Kyle the Scott on YouTube, where I do video essays and game critiques. I'm working on videos. I'm not going to reveal anything this week. It's going to be a secret.
Oh, I love Kale's surprise videos. Kale works in... he does alternating videos, and when he does his series videos, you know what you're getting, and you get the surprise video every other week. I love the surprise videos. They're always great.
Nathan, where can people find you?
You can find me online, as always, at Nathan Tinney on all good social media platforms. Good being a subjective word, but I'm there. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon. Always there for my opinions and nonsense, and occasionally
They're
in
made
Kyle's
better
comment
by
section.
your presence there.
Thank you, Kyle. That's wonderful to hear. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. You can listen to our entire back catalogue on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube of Enter the Snyderverse, Name Not Included, and, of course, the back catalogue of Enter the X-Verse. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening, and you can hear us next week for X-Men, Days of Future Past.